Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
We're back. Welcome, everybody. We're here today with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend, whether you tuned in yesterday or not. We have another half dozen questions that have come in from our community. Super excited to be able to get into those. Love being able to see what's going on in the community. And also, it gives me a lot of ideas for these solo shows Monday through essentially Thursday, because Friday is our wrap-up show of the week. I love that one for different reasons, because it's kind of like my life. It's a little all over the place, a little eclectic in all of my different thoughts and interests and maybe even hobbies inside of the health-based space as well. So we answer all things wellness, weight loss, anti-aging. If you'd like to follow along with today's show, see what the questions are, you're welcome to head on over to stephencabral.com/2459. And then, of course, while you're over there, definitely check out yesterday's show if you haven't already. And feel free to type in any of your particular interests into the search bar for additional shows. All right, let's dive right into it. Just open up the document that my team was kind enough to put together. First question is from Ben, and it says, "Hey doc, I get athlete's foot on my left pinky toe from time to time. It's always in the same place on the same foot only. Only recently did I think that it may actually be some form of candida. Can you get candida on your toes? What is the fastest way to make it go away? Thanks for all you do. I'm inspired by your work ethic." Ben, thank you. I appreciate that. I like talking about work ethic. I'm big on work ethic. And I think that's when you love what you do, it's still a lot of work, but you feel great at the end of the day. I mean, you really do. When you're doing what you love, when you feel that you're not necessarily succeeding in one way or another, or that you have it all figured out, but you're on your way and you're doing something that makes your life I think have meaning and feel worthwhile. So anyway, thank you, Ben. Thanks for allowing me to go on that little tangent there for a second. So you absolutely can get yeast candida on the feet. There's no doubt about it. Athlete's foot is a fungal-based infection. Candida is essentially a fungus. Same with mold. So let's look at this. So I've given lots and lots of tips before for athlete's foot, or athlete's feet, however you want to describe it. For you, same place on that little pinky toe. That seems to be the most common, by the way. And that is somewhat because it curls over. So that is a little tip, because if you look at the toe, the flesh of that toe, the padding on the toe, creates a little bit of let's call it a cave underneath it, right? And yeast, fungus, mold loves to grow in dark, damp, moist places. So you're most likely to get a candida-based or fungal-based infection or rash under the armpits, in the groin area, sometimes your elbows, behind your knees, and on your feet. All right, so what we need to do is get rid of it. Now, there's lots of different ways, lots of different things work for different people. You can do a foot soak that is apple cider vinegar. That people do that. Foot soaks with borax. That's another one. You want to do these for at least a week. Direct application of just some apple cider vinegar on that area, followed up by some coconut oil, which is antifungal. You could do that. You can add 1 or 2 drops of tea tree oil, which I love people to do, to that particular coconut oil. That's a great way to do it. Let it air dry at night. You can do the same in the morning, although I'm going to give you a different morning recommendation in just a moment. The second one is you can use GSE drops. Those GSE drops, grapefruit seed extract, or GFSE, grapefruit seed extract. Yes, that's what it is. We use citricidal because it's stronger. Will help to kill that area. Should be gone in a week to 2. Again, I have to give you my disclaimer now. I'm not here to provide you with any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, or medical cures on the Cabral concept. All right. Now, when it's gone, and one of the issues is, and one of the ways to get rid of it is, if your feet sweat a lot, it may continue to come back. It's just, if there's a little bit there, it may continue to come back. Now, when it's gone, it's gone. It shouldn't start to regrow. So you may, again, I don't know the climate you're in, want to walk around as long as you're not in showers or different places like that where you can pick it up, barefoot or with socks so that maybe your feet are not sweating, it's just absorbing any moisture, or putting a little bit of baking soda in those socks to absorb any moisture for a couple weeks. So something to think about. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if there's any more questions. Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I have a friend with chronic spastic colitis, and I've been trying to look it up and learn about it. But I haven't found anything on the podcast. How is it different than ulcerative colitis? Is it similar to Crohn's? I know these are just names for a bunch of symptoms, but I would really like to learn about it from a source I trust, you. And I have all the information if my friend ever gets on board not to trust doctors who've been telling him his whole life that it's chronic and putting him on drugs like Buscopan, etc. And he decides to listen and do something about it. So please, could you do a show about it or talk about it when you answer this? Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. All right. So spastic colitis, just again, it's just a name. Okay. So we have an inflamed colon and or intestines. Okay. So here's the issue. It's not radically different than ulcerative colitis. It's not radically different than IBS. Actually, it's given as another name for IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And again, when you get that diagnosis of irritable bowel syndrome, you're like, oh man, I just spent a half hour with my doctor for them to diagnose me with irritable bowels. And again, like, no kidding, I have irritable bowels. It's why I came here. And so then they say, okay, well, let's give it a different name, spastic colitis. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Now, what do we do? Oh, yeah, we just put you on anti-spasmodic-based drugs. So there's that. Now, here's the issue. What's the underlying root cause? Well, the underlying root cause for most colitis, Crohn's, IBS, etc., are food sensitivities, bacterial imbalances between good and bad bacteria in your gut, colon, and small intestine, H. pylori, or parasites. So food sensitivities, H. pylori, parasites, yeast overgrowth, if I didn't say that, as well as bacterial imbalances, okay? Because you can just have an undergrowth of good or an overgrowth of bad, or both low or an overgrowth of good. None of them are good. You want a balanced gut. Now, the food sensitivities tend to exacerbate it, and that can cause the spastic colitis, especially if this individual continues to consume dairy or gluten or something that may cause a sensitivity, even if their doctor's food sensitivity says that it's not, because again, they may not be looking at all of the different immunoglobulins that can actually cause an issue, or understand that certain fructans that we talk about with the CBO protocol can cause an issue as well. All right, so that's a big part of it. And then stress, right? Stress is the big wild card, because that is what can cause a spastic colitis-based episode, right? So we need to work on not just the food and nutrition, and potentially supplementation, but we need to work on the autonomic nervous system as well, and stress, which is then the enteric nervous system goes around the gut, and the stress continues to be exacerbated. All right. So if possible, they're going to run a bacterial parasite stool test. That would be the best one. Then a IgG food sensitivity test, and then a candida metabolic and vitamins test. And that's at stevencabral.com/labs. If you choose not to run it with us, totally fine, but at least you know what to run. Drake's up next. Drake says, hi, Dr. Cabral. I've had ongoing stomach problems for years, and they've gone away and come back. I've done the CBO protocol as well as tried every diet you could think of. Things tend to get better for a while, and then they come back. Currently, what I'm experiencing is lots of gas, discomfort, and loose stools, and it seems to happen no matter what I eat. The worst and most difficult thing is actually my sleep. When my stomach problems and gas come back, it really disrupts my sleep, leading to 3 to 6 wakes per night to pee. I wake up with a really strong need to pee, but then pee very little. I'm a 25-year-old man, and I've had this nocturia type issue intermittently since 16. It seems to be related to stomach issues. What's the case? If I had thousands of dollars to spend on labs, what should I run? Okay, so let's see if we can spend as little as possible and do one lab, and that's the bacterial parasite stool test. If you wanted to run a second one, it would be the candida metabolic and vitamins test, and if you wanted to run a third, it would be the IgG food sensitivity test. That was a little different order than I gave the individual before. That's why I'm customizing it for you. Okay, now I know you got relief doing something like the CBO protocol and trying different things. Okay, so the reason is, why won't it stick? The reason that it won't stick is that there's either low stomach acid or low peristaltic movement, right? So bacteria begins to build up. There's higher levels of stress, which is allowing your colon to backfill, as I call it, your small intestine with bacteria, because there's a valve called the ileocecal valve. It's your small intestine. So it basically goes esophagus, that's your throat, that goes down the esophagus into your stomach. Then your stomach goes to your small intestine. Then your small intestine goes to your large intestine called your colon, and then it comes out of your body as waste, right? Okay, so it's always supposed to be going downhill, right? Like that's a sewage pipe, goes downhill. Now, again, if you look at the actual intestines, you know that there's an ascending colon, and I won't get too much into that. But for those, doctors and practitioners out there that are like, wait a minute, it's not all downhill. Well, it's all moving one direction. That's what you want. When things start to move in the other direction, well, that's like your garbage disposal coming up and bubbling up into your sink. You don't want that. So to me, it looks like stress. So there could be weak peristaltic movement or an imbalance in bacteria that it won't stick. So I'm just wondering, are you sticking with something like the Clean Gut Probiotic or the daily probiotic support ongoing? You might be someone that just needs an ongoing probiotic. Some people feel tremendously better with it. And so since you seem to be feeling better by the end of one of these protocols, like I don't want you to just stop and then like reintroduce all foods and all these different types of things. So that's what I would do. And then of course, if you run any of the labs that I just spoke about at StephenCabral.com/labs, they come with a full reading of what's going on in your body and then a plan built for you. All right. Thanks for writing in, Drake. Kathy's up next. I've been dealing with telogen phase hair loss for over 2 years. Can you suggest anything? I've tried multiple topical treatments, supplements, diets, relaxation techniques, etc. I very much believe it's stress related as well as diet. My scalp itches. I'm using certain shampoos to no avail. I did listen to your podcast and working on getting 60 grams of protein a day. Thank you in advance, Kathy. All right. Good news, Kathy. I wrote this, I think it was after you wrote in. So go to StephenCabral.com/hair-loss. You probably already saw this. StephenCabral.com/hair-loss. Let's just make sure that's it. I will practice what I preach and actually type it in and go. All right. And it is there. All right. Literally, it's everything that we do in our practice and I did myself to regrow my hair. And you'd be surprised, like how skeptical people are in general. Like I get it. I totally understand. But sometimes you just have to like take a deep breath in life and just be like, hey, maybe someone has something that may work, And so I go through all the different things, what it could be for each individual. There's essentially 1 or 2 main things for men, and then there's 6 different things for women. And so that's that. And so that should help you. A lot of people, this is happening too. And I have a podcast at StephenCabral.com/podcast on how the virus also causes hair loss in people and what you can do about that too. All right. So everything is at StephenCabral.com/hair-loss. All right, Luke is up next, and Luke says, hi, Dr. Cabral. You are truly amazing. Your guidance and knowledge in this world is so undervalued, so thank you for being you. Oh, thank you, Luke. I've been through quite a lot, from going to the gym 6 days a week, eating relatively balanced, happy and healthy individual, to one day, January 2nd of 2021, massive panic attack. I thought it was going to die. I went to the ER, said it was a panic attack. 2 weeks later, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, burning sensations all over my body, then balance issues, then brain fog. I ended up with 30 plus chronic symptoms. This all lasted for months, bedridden at times, found functional medicine, high levels of copper, blastoparasite, overgrowth of strep, a high HVA-VMA ratio on my oat. I have healed 20 of the 30 symptoms, but some still remain. I'm a strong believer that Epstein-Barr virus was the main cause for all of this, but the only tests in Australia doctors can do says it's not active. No markers. What are your thoughts on this? My remaining symptoms, very warm sensation, feels like someone poured warm milk down the left side of my leg, calf mainly, but my arm sometimes and my head. Okay, so totally understand what you're saying, being someone that had at least 30 symptoms as well. So I totally get it back in the day. I'm really happy that you are working on these things and you've already knocked down 2/3 of your symptoms. So, one is time, right? You could be on the right path, but just need a little bit more time for the body to heal. It is an organism. It is a living thing. Typically, for someone with serious issues, it takes 12 weeks, so 3 to 6 months to heal. So you just continue the healing process, getting your sleep, following the rain barrel, right? Following the de-stress protocol, diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest, emotional balance, scientifically backed supplements, and success mindset. I would just want to make sure that you don't have heavy metals. It certainly sounds like you have a lot of symptoms of heavy metals, this tingling, this warmness, this inflammatory-based issue in the legs. So you would do something like the heavy metal protocol. If you haven't done a functional medicine detox, we would do that. Getting, again, like I said, lots of sleep, not over-exercising. Certainly there's inflammation going in your body. Are you getting enough omega-3s? These are things that I don't know. I ask questions. And the way that we figure this out is through lab testing. So it certainly looks like you've run an OAT test, you've run a stool test maybe, and you find high copper, so maybe even ran a minerals and metals test. But for me, I would run the minerals and metals test for sure. Then I would run, if you haven't done the omega-3, I would do that. And I would do the stress, mood, and metabolism if you haven't done that. And all of these ship to Australia, and they come with a consultation as well. So it's like, I want to help you, obviously, so much, but these are all symptoms. And for sure, it could be EBV related, Epstein-Barr virus. But the thing is, like, okay, well, there's not one thing that you do for Epstein-Barr virus. What you do is you actually get your body incredibly healthy. And you can use antivirals. I've talked about those on many, many shows. You can see the program that I use for myself personally at stephencabral.com/the-protocol. I use that for myself, just me personally, for all viruses. And you work the process. Again, I wish I could give you more concrete answers, but I need to see those labs. I really do. Like, that's any practitioner, you can give recommendations like I just did. Natural anti-inflammatories, maybe something like the Inflammasoothe, the daily omega-3 support. But we want to see, hey, what happened on this specific day? What was it, a year and a half ago, right? Yeah, we want to figure that out. And that's what I love. I love the detective work. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. And let us see, that's going to be our last question for the day. So I will, of course, I'll be back next weekend answering more of our community's questions. And I do hope that you come back this week. We've got some hopefully great shows lined up for you. Our Mindset and Motivation is up next tomorrow. Don't miss it. My favorite way to start the week. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.